We're super excited to be here. As Arpit said, we're one of the newest Platinum members. So this is kind of our first time here. So I thought I would take an opportunity to introduce you to TELUS and some of the things we do and some of our thoughts around open source. I have accountability for our networks and our network function virtualization infrastructure and a bunch of our enterprise services like SD-WAN. And so this is near and dear to me and to the team. Okay, wrong button. So I thought because we're new to LF networking, I thought that I would take a second. Many of you may know TELUS already, but for those of you that don't, or for those of you that know us from the past, because when I started with the company, we were sort of a regional service provider, based in Western Canada. Since that time, I won't tell you how many years that is because it'll date me, but we've grown. We've grown to be a world-leading communications and IT company. We've got 80,000 employees now spread across 20 countries in the world, and that's because we've grown from being a telco to we do wireless, data, IP, voice, as you would expect. We also have a thriving television business, entertainment, video, a security business, a home security and physical security business. TELUS Health, which is not just the largest health IT provider in Canada, but is providing great health outcomes across the world. And then most recently, TELUS Agriculture, which is looking to build food security sort of across globally. And so we've got lots of new team members. On the connection side, we have 17 million customer connections. 17 billion, my bonus should be bigger, $17 billion of revenue. And, but more proudly, over $1 billion of philanthropic donations over the last couple of decades. And so, what you'll see is if you know TELUS, you may see our commercials. We've got the critters, but we also have our For Good programs, Technology for Good, Health for Good, and this is where we're actually going out into the community and giving back. So we're really proud of that, and it's a big part of what we do, and it's a big part of what all of our team members are about as well. So we've grown up a little bit over the last couple of decades, and a big part of that. Now, many of you probably know Brahim already. Brahim sends his regrets. He was really, he loves these events, and he was looking forward to being here, but he just unfortunately had to miss today due to some other commitments with our government, our federal government. But Brahim has been a huge leader of innovation at TELUS over those couple of decades, and he's a big reason why we're part of LF Networking and these communities. And so we're really proud to have him as our CTO, and hopefully you'll get an opportunity, if you've not met him, to meet him at some point. I won't spend a lot of time on myself, other than to say that I've worked in big parts of across TELUS and the industry, right across pretty much all the technology groups and all of the functions. And so I'm passionate about delivering end-to-end integrated customer experiences to our customers, sort of across the board. And because of that, we try to drive a lot of innovation, and we try to drive a lot of new ideas, including SD-WAN, as I said earlier, and some others. So, why do we join LF Networking? And I would call out, you guys will meet later because she has, I don't know where Santa is sitting, but she has a presentation later today. But Santa has been a driving force at TELUS for open source and for joining LFN specifically. And a big part of that is, as our network builds, and we talked a little bit about not just connectivity, but as we drive out innovation sort of across different sectors. And it was really interesting yesterday at the board meeting to hear things about, themes about sustainability. TELUS we have a large commitment to using renewable energy. We have a sustainability-backed bond, and so we're really putting our money where our mouth is. Of course, technology. but transitioning our business from where we might have been to being more cloud-centric and cloud and virtualization and all of sort of the topics that you would expect to see here. But we can't get there alone for a bunch of reasons. One is doability, the other is legitimacy. And so if we think about what does open source bring? Well, we have access to the community contributions, not just to consume code. We've been consuming open source for quite some time, as we all have, but also that legitimacy that open source brings and that this community brings, right? We can benefit from the experience of learning from this community of practice that we, in this case, we call LFN, but there's open source in general. And I think we could probably agree that as a community, we all are supporting innovation because we're here and we're contributing to these practices. And so by standing on the shoulders of tech giants like yourselves, it helps us learn and it helps us contribute, and it contributes to the business, right? The success of the business. And so that's one of the reasons we're here. The second is, if we want to drive open source adoption within the company, we need to learn about the governance, right? So we can't. You'll see that we have lots of contributions, but how do we actually drive sort of help from across the company? Across all of our teams. So we need to build a governance model. And so part of that is learning from the experience of the community. And because of that, we've actually managed to launch an open source program office at TELUS, which is helping. It's helped us inform our decision to join here. It's helping inform some of our policies around open source. It informs sort of our, what packages we should consume. Whether we should go commercial or community or both. And it allows us to figure out what the best support model is, what's the correct level of support for us to use. And then there's industry reach and collaboration, and I was talking to our friends from DT this morning about, as we make the shift and having those relationships as a community and being able to say, well, hey, here's what we are doing. It brings a lot more traction in the company. So we're able to meet with all of you as our peers and learn and have a voice and drive roadmaps and contributions, help on the branding, and move TELUS and the whole community further towards innovation instead of just consumption models and the typical approaches we would have taken in the past. And look, we're in an industry of people, and so we want to make sure that we're developing our team members and we're attracting great team members. And so this is another benefit, frankly, of being part of the community. So. But you can't just dive in. You have to figure out a strategy. And so, one of the things I mentioned earlier about, getting that legitimacy about open source. And like a lot of technologies and processes and methodologies that we might use, we need to demystify those sometimes in the company. And so by creating an informed open source community within the company, we then build advocates that can go around and help, talk about what license choices should we make? What is our code maintenance practices? What are our contribution and consumption policies? And create that community of advocates, knowledgeable advocates. So that was the first step of our strategy. And by doing that, we establish, the importance of open source towards our strategy of becoming a software-centric organization, so moving more towards software and getting people comfortable with this practice for us, and that in turn means that we can make it a priority in the company. And that priority is really important because we need to go and garner support, not just financial support, but people resources, money, buy-in from legal communities. There's lots of practices that we need to change, and it's difficult to do this on your own. And so by in the community more actively, and by driving the strategy, then we're driving more success sort of across TELUS as a whole. So all of that sort of informed our decision to join LF Networking, right? I'm not going to talk about specific projects today because you're going to hear a lot about that, right? But you know, as we go on our cloud journey and move towards O-RAN, I think ARPIT wants us to say 5G because it's the year of 5G, so I'll say 5G. But you know, this is an important part of our journey as well, and we're really excited about actually actively participating. And so as you'll see, and I was really excited when you showed us LFX yesterday. The dashboard is incredible, right? And so I'm excited to see us actually, as opposed to just contributing, you know, claiming our contributions and being able to communicate that more broadly within TELUS and within the community. We think that we can bring, you know, some scale and technical and domain leadership. There's lots of collaborations that have been going on outside of LF Networking, and we can bring some of those in. And you know, we've got you know, the ability to contribute and learn. And I think learning is really important on this, right? It's listening is as much as an art as it is a science. So we need to, you know, learn from this robust group, and then piece that into what our strategy is, and then drive that back into our collaborations. And then finally, you know, you will see us around more and more as the TELUS team members. There's a bunch around today, but you'll see us being more actively part of the working groups and projects and committees and so forth. So we're really excited about being here. I hope that you know, with this short presentation, we've given you a little bit more knowledge about TELUS, a little bit more knowledge about, you know, what we can bring to the table, and I hope whetted your appetite to collaborate. So we're here, and we're eager to participate. So you know, thanks a bunch for your time today. I think echo what Arpit said about everybody. It's great to be back in the world, right, and seeing live people. So it's good to be here, and thanks for making the trip and for you know, having us into the community. So thanks, everybody.